Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Keenan. Welcome to the July 7th, 2022 weekly DXdao Community Call, held once again on Twitter Spaces. Happy belated Canada Day and or 4th of July to those of you who celebrated. Again, this is a reminder that we're experimenting with spaces in anticipation of Operation Decentralization, our upcoming live show all about decentralization, fun discussions, fun guests. I've been shouting about that for a while, but there's been another important priority, one that we'll get to in a little bit, so you want to stay tuned for that. Today, we're going to be kicking things off with a discussion on Voyager, FTX, Celcius, everything in between, all the insolvency. Following this, we're going to tackle all the bases, governance, Swapr, Carrot, DXgov, and also a very, very special announcement today, something infinite you'll want to be paying attention to. But you're going to have to stick around to hear a bit more about this. If you're looking for a live discussion, as usual, you can find a chat for this call in the DXdao Discord channels. Heading over to the Twitter account at DXdao, I believe is the host of this call. You can find the link directly there in the profile. All of our text discussions are in the Mothership text channel. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't have any text. You're also welcome to step up on the stage if you're looking to speak. Just feel free to request and we'll let you up. Cool. So let's get started. Voyager, FTX, Celcius, everything in between. I'll kick this discussion off, but I'm not completely intimate with the situation. So hopefully some others here have some info that maybe I might not. But as of late, there's been several examples of centralized entities leveraging user funds, as liquid capital, lending, borrowing against other entities to perceivably safe companies, I suppose. Now, if you've been around the space for the last little while, this didn't necessarily go well. Hundreds of millions of dollars of user funds are effectively locked, inaccessible. There's been many collapses, Celcius, of course, being a big one, currently locked. It sounds like they have paid off their loan completely this morning, but also not completely infinite there. The more interesting thing to me is actually the Voyager bankruptcy. If you haven't seen Voyager, which prides itself as a safe, commission-free crypto purchasing and earning app from their description, they filed for bankruptcy in a New York district court, I believe yesterday. So if you read through all the details, you can extract a couple interesting things. The outstanding balances, which is actually over $1 billion, by the way, includes $654 million lost to 3AC, which of course, as we know, has effectively blown up. But the more interesting one to me is about $376 million outstanding to Alameda, which is Sam/FTX's firm. So I guess the big question is FTX secretly insolvent? What exactly is going on there? And just how deep does the liability daisy chain go? I saw a good thread that included, basically this traceable daisy chain of like 6 different firms borrowing and lending against each other. So opening that discussion up to the stage here, anyone in the group that wants to speak to the topic, feel free to do so.
Remember that time we got pretend rich with each other's pretend money? Good times back in 2021. But I think... Yeah, first thing to clarify though is, Alameda and FTX are not like technically the same organization, right? And so Alameda is like showing up on Voyager's balance sheet as having borrowed from them. But like that's a separate entity from FTX. Granted, they are like closely tied together via SBF, but I think my like next question would be, how much did Alameda owe BlockFi? Which we maybe will never find out, but
I guess I'd maybe challenge that it's bad that Alameda has a loan out. And I don't think we know or have any indication that Alameda is insolvent or could not pay off that loan. That loan could be in US dollars and it could be at a low rate, and they're still kind of managing it in the way that they were doing kind of before the market fallout. It also could be in BTC itself, right? So they could be doing some market move in terms of shorting BTC, or I don't know. But just because Alameda has a loan out to Voyager, I don't think that gives any indication that Alameda is unable to pay back that loan or insolvent in any way.
Something interesting is how we learn about all that stuff afterwards, right? And what are regulators trying to clamp on? The blockchain that is all transparent. Everything is before your eyes. Everything is out in the open. And they're going after us, blockchain, the community that is all transparent and honest, instead of going after those other, and like what are they actually after? Transparency or shady stuff? And like, you know how internal revenue service is, IRS is internal revenue service. What if the SEC is just the insider trading service? They get the information, they want you to disclose information and report to them first so that they know how to trade markets instead of everything being out in the open. And when you create this amazing, genius, beautiful technology that allows for everything to happen transparently, they try and stop it.
I think the exercise of kind of imagining what might be going on and even entertaining some conspiracy theories is useful. Although I think agree with Chris that we don't really know. Like this isn't like conclusive evidence or at all that Alameda is insolvent, right? Like so they owed a lender some amount of money. It's unclear if they are, you know, if they are going to be able to pay that back or not. I guess, is anybody an expert in bankruptcy
Well, I guess
proceedings?
like why would they pay it back?
Well, bankruptcy, right?
You
So
take out a loan from this company, you have their kind of money. So I'm saying like the bank, maybe the bankruptcy court will like enforce that. But from like
that's what I
Alameda's
was at.
perspective
What?
now,
Yeah.
like they have a loan out that's like probably working for them. They're probably putting that capital to work, and they're under, unless they have something with like the loan agreement that they can be like margin called, but of course it's not a margin, it's an unsecured loan. So I'm not sure what the parameters of the loan are that like would give Voyager the ability to like, yeah, try to force Alameda to pay back that loan. Yeah, but in bankruptcy, then like this kind of gets into a whole who ranks among who there. And it's also true that Alameda has loaned Voyager $75 million, right? And it kind of shows the incestuousness of this, that like, you know, someone's lending someone $375 million, and then they're also simultaneously like loaning Voyager $75 million. I think it's like interesting to see, like, really, I mean, it's like this is like a bankruptcy. So like what happens to people that retail, right, in this case, or people that are invested in a Voyager? They gave people, you know, dollars, BTC, ETH, or whatever, and it'd say, okay, take this, I'm going to get a yield. And of course, like what was happening in the background was like Voyagers, Celcius, and everyone, they were taking the money in retail deposits, and then they were going around to big institutional players in the space, buy platforms themselves, trying to like extract better yield on that. And there's lots of different ways where things blew up. Obviously, like Luna really hurt, kind of had a huge portion of that. But like at Voyager right now, I think I was reading it. You know, they have, I think, like $2.3 billion in assets right now, and $650 million of those assets, though, are a loan to 3 Arrows Capital, right? So the assumption is like you can count that as an asset that you should have, right? That 3AC should pay you back, but like I don't know if they're going to. So if that doesn't come, if that is like worth zero, then that means Voyager customers, depositors would get like 72 cents on the dollar, right? So for every dollar they invested, they would get 72 cents. And then actually in the bankruptcy proceeding, in addition to getting the 72 cents on the dollar, they would also get, obviously, first and foremost, a claim on whatever assets they can get from 3AC's bankruptcy, right? They have $650 million loans from 3AC. Maybe they get back some of that, but that would go to depositors. And then equity itself in Voyager, right? You get a share literally of Voyager. And then, of course, because it's crypto, you also get some Voyager tokens. And that would be the plan, maybe, to like make depositors quote unquote whole. Obviously not really whole in that case. And I think that's kind of, you know, it would be like a huge precedent, obviously, for like one of these crypto banks in terms of kind of doing that. But it also shows like why there's not that much interest to anyone to like quote unquote bail out Voyager, because you would basically be buying a company, right, that's underwater. So you could buy a company, the 72 cents, but if you wanted to make customer whole, like you would have to fund that additional 28 cents or 28% on those assets. And like, it's hard to like really see what the benefit would be of owning that company. I guess you would have like some existing customer base that you'd be able to like maybe sell other things to. But I think that kind of retail element of how it will play out, of course, this is going to like be used, I think, in the future by regulators as like a basis for maybe some type of regulation on like centralized companies offering yielding products. But it'll be definitely interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, there's that argument that the customers may be worth something, but you got to wonder, I mean, in this environment, it's such a hot mess, like how attractive is that really? And with yields having collapsed, right, there's not a clear business model that's like readily available. I guess that's like could be a longer play. And yeah, I mean, it's just like good to remember what we don't know, right? Like we don't know even whether BlockFi is solvent. Like it's just interesting, right? Like you can start thinking down the conspiracy theory road, but it's just interesting that FTX offered BlockFi a $400 million credit facility, while at the same time Alameda still has like, these loans out against them. But like you said, that's just how they were doing business. So it's not necessarily anything crazy, right? This just could be where they're at. But on the other hand, like, yeah, having $18 billion of UST completely wiped off the books, not to mention the other hundreds of billions of dollars of crypto market cap that have just dissolved in the last few months. You have to wonder, what is the standing of all of these guys? And we just kind of don't know, right? You just don't know until they actually fail. So yeah, I mean, at the end, I think the conclusion is DeFi has survived, and DeFi is like a better way to do this stuff, right? We don't need to trust these individuals when we don't really know what they're doing and what kind of risk they're taking on. And yeah, I mean, I think other folks too, you look at this and it's not like, this is not a surprising scenario, right? People like got addicted to this carry trade and they were doing like unsustainable borrowing, like betting that they could keep the music running, and the music stopped, right? And then you have a bunch of them insolvent. So I think ultimately healthy for crypto, but it's definitely some short-term pain here.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening everywhere, and it's hard to keep track of. I remember like a couple of years ago when Binance used to email people, "Oh, here's 100 USDT. Go spend it, like trade." And basically, is that really backed by anything, or they're using it as bait for people to use this fake money to try and do a trade, lose money, or get hooked, put in more real money, or get indebted? So it's hard to know what is truly backed and what isn't when you have all of these centralized exchanges not showing their books, and when it's not truly transparent. That's why I'm so bullish on DEXs. Like we have to bring everything out in the light. When you have something centralized, when you have private books, when you have ledgers that are not decentralized, then it's all bullshit, as it's been going for hundreds of years. This is why this technology is so important, and anyone attacking it is enemy of the people.
The people. On that, I saw that Celcius, I think Keenan may have mentioned this, but Celcius repaid the $183 million loan it had to Maker so that it could take out its WBTC collateral. And I think it kind of shows in this whole shakeout, right, in the crypto markets and CeFi and DeFi, like the liquidation of a leverage position on DeFi is a much, much, much more sure thing than the liquidation of said position on a CeFi platform, as we're kind of like seeing here there. And everyone knows that, right? That there's really no questions. It's like, what is your collateral? What's the collateral ratio? And it'll get liquidated. So I think there are a lot of things like that even I hope, like as the story kind of unfolds more, and I recommend someone, if you guys are reading for Bloomberg, a Matt Levine newsletter. He's a really great financial newsletter writer. But he kind of, I think he was talking about the difference between the CeFi and DeFi platforms. And I think if that narrative can get across to a to like the broader audience, that could be something positive that comes out of this here. I think the initial reaction was like, oh, look, this is like all DeFi, like DeFi blew up, but it's like clearly like it's like, no, it's these like centralized companies that are built on top of blockchains that are doing things with your money that like no one really knows what they are. So I'm optimistic that that narrative will have its day.
And I guess we're still wondering, like, what is the extent of the contagion, like, so to speak, right? Like, and like Chris said, like the depositors may end up getting 80% of their money back, right? Or even better, maybe. But like, yeah, how many companies are going to fail? Like, who's actually insolvent? Like, how far does this go? And I think another question in the back of my mind too is like, what is the regulatory fallout going to be, right? Like, what is the reaction in the U.S. and other places? And, you know, maybe like what other shady things are uncovered as a result of the court proceedings that we're going through now, whether it's the bankruptcy proceedings or other lawsuits. It kind of reminds me of BitMEX and how I believe, like, you know, how Arthur Hayes and the other co-founders got in trouble with the law. A lot of the, like, I think discovery or like due diligence that was like used against them by the government had been brought up in a previous court case where they were getting sued by, I think it was an investor or something. I'm a little rusty on this, so you'd have to go like look it up. But I think it's, once things start going to trial and going into court, you know, the ugliness is kind of on display, and we'll find out how bad it gets, right? But we don't know yet.
And also this is the where the problem is the intersection of DeFi with CeFi, and it's really CeFi that's the problem, because as we've seen recently, there was even an Australian lender that kind of like collapsed. And so the problem is not really in DeFi at all. Problem is CeFi and the traditional world, and it kind of bleeds into DeFi.
Yeah, it's amazing how well the DeFi systems have actually held up, right? Like amongst all of this. I mean, we are seeing some issues, like I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but like Reflexer with Rye, like it's not failing, but it's having an imbalance in the redemption price and this kind of thing. But so I mean, definitely strain across the board, but it's great to see that the DeFi protocols for the most part have just kind of worked as expected.
Excellent discussions, everyone. Any final thoughts here from anyone on stage? Anyone in the audience? Feel free to request and hop up here if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll move on with the rest of our agenda. Big announcement yet to come. Cool. Yeah, thank you, everyone that spoke to that topic. Super interesting stuff. Let's move on here to our recaps to quickly kick off the rest of our agenda, starting with governance. Chris, if you wouldn't mind giving a quick recap on all things governance at DXdao here in the last little while. Actually, now that I think about it, you have been missing. Maybe Dave.
Yeah, I was thinking I could say like, there's some stuff going on in governance that I was catching up with. And maybe Dave, I guess this week, kind of got back at some things. I was off last week, and I think there were some things related, mostly just some worker proposals and then an audit proposal going through. But yeah, the big discussion I think last week, it was executed through proposal, was the Rye one. And yeah, maybe Dave, if there's anything else from the governance side.
Yeah, no, like you said, I mean, the main one was the Rye one. We had the second Rye one just pass last night. It was executed today. Other than that, we did post in the forum today a proposal to fund our Gnosis chain base with a slightly higher amount than usual, so transfer over $1 million to Gnosis chain, which should suffice until the end of the year. And if the proposal passes as it has been suggested in the current forum post, that would be 1 million USDT split 60% DAI, 40% USDC, and then bridged all of it to Gnosis chain. And yeah, that's pretty much it on the governance side. So summer has kicked in, and it's a quiet week on mainnet. Just one proposal live.
Yeah, excellent. And while we have you, if you wouldn't mind giving a little bit of a Treasury recap as well. I know there's been a little bit of movement on the stake ETH efforts, and would like some more context on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of overlaps with the governance stuff, so the RAI stuff, of course. On the staked ETH, we have currently acquired 1,000 out of the 2,000 ETH we committed to acquire from Stakewise. So we still kind of have 1,000 ETH outstanding. Stake ETH in general has started to repeg. So if you look at the various liquid staking options, the discrepancy between them and Ether has been decreasing over the past weeks. Lido is still currently the one with the largest depeg, so to speak. But yeah, we'll probably be submitting the next two proposals to stake ETH and just keep monitoring a bit the situation. But it looks like everything is kind of like tending to maybe perhaps not completely repeg, but have a lesser discount than what we saw over the past month, which I think would also make sense that they do trade at a slight discount in the long term. But yeah, that's pretty much where we are at. And then again, as I mentioned, for the governance one, the Treasury movement of funding Gnosis chain from our mainnet Treasury, and that's pretty much it for now. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Dave. I'm going to move on to our next topic, but just very quick, just seeing Mario has stepped up to the stage. Hey, how are you doing? And anything you wanted to comment on here? Maybe having some microphone issues. Cool. Well, let's move on to our next topic here. This is a big one. I'm going to move up if you've been paying attention to the agenda, of course. There is a very special line. It says, traversing the infinite. Let's chat infinite now. I guess a very special and important announcement. We do have John Naguso here on stage. And you also may have caught some discussions in the community as of late about a hackathon. After hours and hours of planning, deliberation, we're very, very excited to announce Infinite Hackathons. More importantly, the inaugural event, Infinite Genesis Edition. Infinite is best described as a more intimate series of hackathons designed hacker first, leveraging the knowledge of us as long-term experienced Ethereum and decentralization maximalists. The first event, Infinite Genesis Edition, has been confirmed for October 7th to 9th in Bogota, Colombia, just preceding DevCon Bogota. So, whether it's DeFi, DAOs, decentralized tech, anything in between, we want to create an environment that gives hackers everything they need to, I guess for lack of better words, build awesome shit. So as of now, I believe, just getting started on the announcement. You can find the announcement for Infinite and DXDAO's Discord channels and on Twitter. I urge you to check out that thread if you're interested either as a hacker or core organizer. Start your application as soon as you can. Now, John and Augusto, who are here with me, you guys have been very deep in the organization planning of Infinite Genesis. Would love to hear some context, perspectives from your guys' end.
Hola, yes. Well, this idea came from all of our experiences in attending other hackathons as hackers, sponsors, mentors also. So we gathered a lot of experience in attending different hackathons and also other events. And yeah, personally, I found that the hackathon experience changed quite a lot from what it started to be back in the early Ethereum days. And this is the main idea of the Infinite Hackathons, to start creating a new type of hackathon, open source focus also, where we can later how can I say, like help other organizations and other companies that are interested in in hacking on Ethereum, in creating open source technology, and building on Ethereum together to fork our hackathon, to fork this hackathon and replicate the event somewhere else. So this is hopefully the start of, again, a new type of hackathon, hacker focus, where the most important thing will be the hackers and everything that we can provide to them so they can deliver good stuff, and hopefully it's going to make the Ethereum ecosystem better, everything open source focus, and later the idea is to work creating other focused hackathons. This one is going to be DeFi and DAO focus, but we have been talking also about creating a hardware hackathon focus too. Again, a lot of ideas. So I think it's time for someone to take a first step and start innovating in the space, not only on the technological level, on the code level, also on the organizational level or the event level, where we want to create a space to make sure that we have everything that the hackers need to make awesome things happen.
Yes, we love decentralization, we love open source, and we love building. And DevCon is my favorite conference. I think it's the best crypto conference, period, and certainly the biggest Ethereum conference every year. And this is going to be a great opportunity for us to get together and focus on what we do best and what is at the core of DXdao, and that's building cool stuff. And yeah, I mean, the bear market is also the best time to build. I remember in 2018, DevCon Prague, it was like kind of the first DevCon after that bull cycle. And that's when Uniswap launched, and there was some other cool stuff going on. So this is definitely not a time to fall asleep or forget about crypto. This is the time to build, and it's the best time to do it. And that's what we're going to be doing in Bogota, and I'm super excited for it. So hope you all will join and spread the word.
Build, learn, and have fun. Those are the three things I want to do, because, again, building, it's all about building, right? But we want also to create a good event where even if you are a badass hacker or very new to the space, you can come to the event and learn something. Anything, anything new that is going to help you grow help you grow professionally in the space, and also have fun, right? What better way to have fun to be in a nice, comfortable place with a lot of hackers, a lot of like-minded people that want to hack, learn, and have fun alongside you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Augusto. And John, as we mentioned, infinite applications are open now. That is infinite-hackathons.eth. You can find the announcement here in the announcement channel on the DXdao Discord. You can find a tweet on the DXdao handle if you're here only on Twitter. That is the host of this call. And there is also the Infinite Discord that is launched alongside. You can find that link in the channel here. Let's see here. It doesn't want to post. There we go. You can find the link to the Infinite Discord directly in the mothership text on Discord, or you can follow Infinite Hackathons on Twitter, which we'll be subquoting shortly. So yeah, pay attention. More to come. This is just the start. Thank you very much to John and Augusto, and look forward to more. Cool. Let's move on with our agenda here for the day. Let's see here. Just lost the agenda sharing the Discord link. Next up, we have Swapr Beta V14, the newest build from the Swapr squad. I believe we have Adam here. Would you like to give some context on the latest release?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me first?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we decided to release Beta 14 2 days ago. It's been a long-awaited release, especially because it has the CowSwap integration. So maybe I would just want to highlight CowSwap integration, because having CowSwap, or integrating CowSwap makes Swapr the first and only decentralized front-end to route trades through the Cow protocol. It's also important to mention that we have decided to actually have app data in the orders in such a way that it makes the DXdao Treasury getting some cow rewards every Tuesdays. So it's dispensed by the Gnosis team itself or the cow team, but this makes it another source of revenue for the DXdao Treasury itself. And then moving on to the next futures is we have the Connect network and then OmniBridge integration into the EcoBridge framework. But also on top of that, we also expanded the socket integration from the last release to the Polygon network as well. And then we also redesigned the liquidity page. So this is a new version designed by Zed, and it's been integrated by our rock stars, as I like to call them, Diego and Leonardo. Shout out to them. And then just general performance and general fixes to this release. Sadly, there's still no on-chain proposal to update the resolver, but I believe it's gonna be up soon once the community decides that this release is good enough to go in production. And that recaps Swapr Beta 14, I believe. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. Adam, having an eye here on the mothership text, will let you know if any questions pop through. Of course, as always, feel free to request and step up here on the stage. And yeah, let's chat our next quick topic here. New Swapr and Carrot campaigns that should have went live about 40 minutes ago. You can find the allocations for these directly in the Swapr announcement channel on Twitter and the Carrot announcement channel as well. Sorry, Discord and Twitter, of course. But just to quickly recap, we have 3 Carrot campaigns on Gnosis chain here for the July 7th to August 4th period. That includes the average TVL of Swapr on Gnosis chain, 2 campaigns that track the total TVL, one of them rewarding 82.5 GNO, and another rewarding 33,600 Swapr. And then the other one is the aggregate of the previous cow campaigns that were tracking only cow WETH. Those pools are now, it is now tracking all pools. So the TVL of the cow token on Swapr Gnosis chain, we had to make some adjustments to the front end to make that work. But the average TVL of the cow token, and that is for the cow WETH and the cow GNO pairs, and that is 50,000 cow as a reward. So super exciting stuff on the Carrot side. And then quickly on the Swapr side, which I will drop the farming link here in the chat for those of you paying attention to the mothership text. Here we are. Doesn't seem to want to upload. But there has been a couple larger changes to our epochs in this last period. Some major adjustments to Arbitrum, which I believe is actually having some deployment issues. So if you're looking for Arbitrum pairs and they're not live, expect those up in the next hour or two. But on the side of Gnosis chain, we have a couple of removals, a couple of additions. Most notably, the cow pairs are now on our traditional schedule. So you can find our regular Swapr emissions here with all of the rewards, which gives us a little bit more room in the kind of unallocated fund, a little bit more room for fun stuff, which of course leads into the discussion of expeditions and the Arbitrum Odyssey. But a little bit more on that in the coming weeks. Of course, the Odyssey is on pause currently for the Arbitrum Nitro upgrade. And yeah, so if you're farming on Swapr, feel free to take a look at the current pairs, migrate your farms over to the next campaigns. We'll be starting on August 4th, so have a little bit of time. Cool, next topic here, DAOs and Builders Mixer in Paris, and how do I get in? I think we have Nathan here. Do you want to give some context on the event? And then maybe me and you can chat a little bit about how to get in and maybe a fun little Twitter event that might be starting any minute here.
Yeah, great. DXdao is attending ECC, and we're also organizing our own event with our friends from GitPoApp, Gnosis Chain, and Gnosis Safe, which is now called Safe. It will be on the 20th. It will be amazing. There's going to be a breakout discussion. We wish to get the convo running around certain topics, some of which true decentralization, running nodes, how this is important for the space, and why it really matters for community members to be aware of this need for it to be met in order for us to have this healthy ecosystem. Node running is key. Also, there's going to be a discussion around what we can do with on-chain reputation and the many ways to approach it. Basically, DXdao has been using the holographic consensus type governance and leveraging on-chain reputation for 3 years now. Now we have GitPoApp pioneering a novel way of approaching this by awarding developers with really nice NFTs that can serve as their on-chain reputation for their contributions. And third but not least, DAOs all the way down. Basically, DXdao as a dinosaur in the space, as this a true amazing DAO wants to lead by example, and we welcome any discussion around DAOs, people having questions, newcomers, OGs, anyone interested should speak up, and we should have some interesting convos that should probably also kind of like put the start to maybe some new innovation. And yeah, it seems like there's huge interest. We're already oversubscribed. The waitlist is packed with hundreds of people that have applied. That's why we wish to run an interesting game to see who's really passionate about DAOs, DeFi, decentralization. And we will run this game asking community members to gush about how they feel about decentralization, what inspires them, what are they really interested in, and a few lucky ones will get to be given a free pass. So anyone interested in joining DXdao, Gnosis Chain, GitPoApp, and Gnosis Safe in Paris, follow our Twitter account and take part in our game.
Yeah, and just a little bit more context on the game. I think we're actually posting this right now. So anyone here in this call interested in attending and not already, keep an eye on the DXdao handle. It should be going out here any moment. The first condition, and there may be more, depending on, of course, activity, how many people we want to invite. But that first condition will be, tell us a little bit about why decentralization is important to you. And, those with the most aligned answers we think will probably be deserving of attendance and a couple tickets. So starting off with a little fun decentralization focused condition, and we can go from there. Cool. So yeah, keep your eyes on the DXdao handle here on Twitter. Should also be a post in the Discord as well, community updates. Moving on here to our final kind of topics on the agenda, Discord rep boosts. Those of you checking in or listening in from Discord, anyone on the recording, take a look at the rep boost channel under DXdao governance. There's been a snapshot for those of you that have roles of activity in the Discord. Basically, for those of you that are not aware, activity in our Discord channels is tracked on a quarterly basis. And we award a small amount of rep to those willing to claim it on Gnosis Chain. So that snapshot has been taken for Q2 of 2022. I urge you to go take a look. It will be going to a signal proposal later today, and then claims, provided, of course, it passes in its current form, should be open early next week, to mid next week, of course. So keep an eye out for that. And those of you not already in our Discord, follow DXdao on Twitter here through this call, and directly in the description, you'll find the Discord handle. Feel free to join us over there. Next up, and a quick little thing for those of you more involved with DXdao governance, is governance gas refunds. I do think that, Dave, you might have mentioned that earlier with the governance recap, but I believe there's a funding proposal up for governance gas refunds. So those of you that have interacted with DXdao governance in the last quarter, maybe, Dave, you can confirm if it's quarter or like half a year, but that it should be up shortly. So you can find that forum post as well directly in DAO Talk. Cool. And then the other thing, of course, Discord directly in DXdao, we had a couple of several spam attacks over the last little week. So apologies to anything that might have slipped through. We've tightened up security around the board, basically. There should be a very minimal window for these attacks to come through. I had to personally sift through what was almost 100 accounts and kind of boot them out. So a bit thinner in numbers here in the Discord, but a lot more valuable of a group. So keep an eye out for that, of course. And the only other thing is a handful of roles that are new, which you can pay attention to in the roles channel. For those of you not aware, being the beginner, enthusiast, expert roles. This is basically the permanent roles that you're tracked over the lifetime of your participation instead of just the last quarter. So exploring that a little bit and what that means for the community, handing out some rewards maybe beyond just a special role are definitely in our interest. And then on the side of Infinite, which of course I had mentioned a bit earlier, Infinite Hackathons does have a Discord server separate from DXdao. You can find the link right now in the mothership text. We'll be putting it in the community updates and announcement channels as well, but unsure of how long this will be open for. But anyone that joins the server currently will be granted a special Genesis role, basically being around for the Genesis event, or at least participating in the community for that time. So not exactly sure how this will be applied, if we'll be giving anything special, but very possible that we will, and very possible that you would want to grab that. So pay attention to that, hop into the Infinite server here if you have not already. Cool. That gets through the agenda that I was looking to chat through today. Opening the topics a bit here to anyone on the stage. If there's anything to cover, anything I missed, feel free to step in. And if not, we can chat. We can round the call off a little bit early here.
No, I'm not letting this end so quickly. It's been an amazing call, but there's still more to chat about. I'm so excited about Infinite Hackathon. I've even wrote somewhat of a poem about it that I wish to share with everyone. I so much love the name of it that it really inspired me, and I've written the following: infinite energy, infinite inspiration, infinite imagination. Tap into it, manifest. To DeFi, there is no second best. Developers sign up till there are still spaces left.
You just brought a tear to my eye, Nathan.
Yeah, I hope you liked it.
Almost as good as the decentralized chat from the last Twitter Spaces, which, by the way, is included in the Infinite announcement at the bottom, courtesy of Wayne, a little developer chat. See, Nathan makes me cry each Twitter Space. Definitely the highlight, Nathan, I'll say.
a roller coaster of emotions.
Excitement, sadness. We can all cry together over decentralization. So you should definitely share that poem in the channels, particularly in the Infinite server. Would love to definitely see that more than once here.
doing it as I speak.
Excellent. Any other poems or other fun content here on the stage? I'm not sure anyone will be topping Nathan's crown. Well, I think that makes you the winner. Definitely excited to see the poem here and lots of other fun content. Also, some Nathan memes for Internet would definitely be fun.
Yeah, got some in the pipeline.
Oh, and the pipeline. I was going to say, you already have some too.
Yeah.
So proactive.
It just keeps me up at night.
Keeps you up infinitely, even.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, let's wind it down here. Thanks again, Nathan, for the awesome end of the call, as you have done the last couple times, might I add. Definitely the highlight here. Just again, as a reminder, join the Infinite Discord. Those of you that join and verify early are going to get this Genesis role in the Discord. So lots of fun things we could do with that. Nothing confirmed as of yet, of course, but keep an eye out there. You don't want to not have this role. Also, of course, the Discord rep boost. Pay attention to the DXdao Discord's rep boost channel. That's in the DXdao governance section. We'll have a signal proposal up soon. Make sure you check the snapshot, make sure that's all in line as well. Yeah, well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Much appreciate our speakers today as well. We'll see you next week in Discord for the DXdao Community Call. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Ta-da.